Hello, my name's Niranjan, the host of Master of Your Crafts podcast, learning from leaders who are continuously inspired, passionate, and driven to align with their soul purpose, sharing their gifts to bring healing to others. The music is composed by Rebecca Everett. Today is episode number 121, and I'll be talking to Amy Piper, a Michigan-based freelance travel writer, blogger, photographer, and author specializing in luxury and multi-generational travel. She is a native Michigander who travels through the lens of a food lover. As a former project manager with more than 35 years experience in information technology fields, she's traveled the world. Along with her personal travel, she's been to 41 countries and 45 states. From getting chased by bomb-sniffing dogs in the middle of the night in Bogotá, to being refused boarding her plane, to the wrong visa, to being surrounded by 21 lions in Tanzania on a photo safari. Amy always has an exciting adventure to tell her readers and community, the travel enthusiast she is. In 2022, Amy was recognized as a Greater Lansing Certified Tourist Ambassador Star of the Year. She has published 2 books, Secret Michigan, A Guide to a Weird and Wonderful Obscure, and 100 Things to Do in Lansing Before You Die. She is also a co-author of a collaborative work with 11 other authors called Midwest Road Trip of Adventure. She wants to motivate you to pack up and travel into your life. You don't need to get on a plane to travel. Instead, she'll inspire you to get off the couch and see the world, near or far. Be a tourist in your own town. Go to new restaurants, explore museums you've passed every day for years and never visited. Make a trip on a Saturday or go away for the weekend. You don't need a whole week or 2 to travel. You don't need to travel full-time to experience the world. While she wants you to plan your next adventure to Michigan or the Midwest, she'll also take you further afield. First, she helps you decide where to go, to with whom and what to eat, which activities to pursue. Then she'll inspire you to get there. I trust that you will enjoy this delightful conversation I had with Amy. Thank you for watching. Hello and welcome to Amy. How are you, Amy?
I'm great this morning. How are you?
I'm well. I'm excited to get into this conversation from not only the perspective of your contrasting career, from being in the IT space and then also going very, very in the opposite direction of going out and traveling and seeing the world and exploring other aspects of what the world has to offer. So I'm excited to get into the conversation and learn a little bit more about who Amy is and what is it you wanted to share with the world and what have you gained from it. So with that, I have a question of what do you believe about yourself? And do you feel it defines who you are at this moment of time?
I believe I can do anything that I set my mind to. I feel that at the very essence of what I'm about is continuous learning. So I vividly remember a story from my younger days when my mother wanted this ceramic Christmas tree, and they were very popular back in the day. And so I went to the ceramic store, not knowing anything about how to create these Christmas trees. But I said to myself, you know what? I have a master's degree. I'm pretty smart. People do this all the time.
Okay.
I'm going to figure it out.
Right.
And so I went in, and over the course, they told me each step. I did that step, brought it back, and went through and made this Christmas tree out of ceramics. It was lighted. And my mother was shocked. And where did you buy this? And I'm like, well, I made it. And I think that is one of the examples of I, I knew nothing about it, but I'll figure it out.
Mhm.
And so I think that essence of continuous learning is what I'm about.
Right. And no doubt there's components of that that happened in your professional career, in the IT space of this is the challenge and we need to get a resolve on this. So it's
Mhm.
the same analogy, if you will, right?
Yeah. Well, when I got my undergraduate degree, it was in Spanish and linguistics, nothing to do with IT.
Mhm.
And then my master's was in linguistics, and I started my PhD in instructional design. And you had to have an internship. And so I knew nothing about IT, but I was offered this internship to design courses for an IT department. And so off I went. And it was funny, but out of all the interns, I was the one they hired
Hmm.
to keep on. And I ended up with a 35 plus year career in
Yeah.
IT just because, I was learning all the time. And then I was turning around and teaching other people that exact what I had gone through. So I knew the pitfalls, I knew what was wrong. And I was able to write very clear instructions for how to use a software program.
Yes.
So it kind of just continues to evolve from languages to project management to IT to um, going around the world and teaching others project management in an
Mhm.
IT space. And then ultimately, I said, oh, I want to keep doing this. And I'm going to retire. How am I going to afford to do this?
Right.
Oh, here's this thing called travel writing. So it's kind
Yeah.
of,
Yeah. So is there a definition to Amy of in that all that you bring to the table from your industrial design to your IT project management to your linguistics, is that is there a capsule that lives in that you can say, I am that kind of person now that I know that I've lived through all of that?
oh, um, I would say I'm a can-do person. You
Mhm.
know, I get out and I get it done and figure out how to do it, get it done on time. And
Right.
so I
Yeah.
would say that's kind of the Rosie the Riveter, I can do it kind of gal.
Sure. Fair. That's fair. What do you feel is your calling? Because when we live a corporate career and we delve into places and spaces that really fill us up, that make us think, that challenges us in the same place, and having been through the many contrasting environments of your career, is there a silver lining in that in terms of what you feel is your calling now? Because it sounds like there were callings during the other components of your career,
Mhm.
education, supporting others, and all those pieces. What do you feel that is now for where you are in life?
Well, I I think that it really has to do with helping helping bring people together. I think if you've been to a place and you've explored that place, that it's very hard to a lot of your prejudices melt away, if
Mhm.
you will.
Mhm.
Um, I went to a place that I thought, oh, it's the South, it's the mountains, it's not very educated. And then I went there, and it's like they have more PhDs than anywhere else in the United States.
Mm.
And I'm like, oh, wow. So I feel like um, going there and telling people about it and helping them have a good experience through my writing is going to help. I don't know, maybe it sounds silly, but bring the world together, so to
Mhm.
speak.
Mhm. Yeah. If anything, it'll expand the awareness of
Right.
that and the breakdown of that stereotypical um, bias that's been placed on you and people
Mm-hmm.
like you, I guess, that are scattered around the world. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps that's it.
Yeah. And you don't really understand other people's struggles until you've really been there and seen it. And I remember vividly in Tanzania, I saw this woman much older than I was carrying a load of wood on her back up a mountain. And I sat there and thought, I'm a little bit younger than she is, and I could never do that. I just physically, and it was just, an eye-opening experience that,
Mhm. Mhm.
you know,
Yeah, that those basic needs that they need every day
mhm.
are very
And I try
taxing
and
and
put
very
myself
fluid.
there and
Mhm.
say, how could I do it? I mean, it's just, I have some mobility challenges, and I refuse to let that keep me at home. I'm not in a wheelchair or anything, but
Mhm.
I can't walk well.
Mhm.
And I see how difficult it would be in other places. And
Yeah,
I just don't know how I would ever
yeah,
manage.
yeah. I'm somewhat of a firm believer that we're all positioned and put in this particular place for a reason. So you
Mhm.
being where you are, that is there for a very specific reason. Having the resources, having the ability, having the opportunities, just as that woman in Tanzania who needed to take care of her basic needs in the form and fashion that she needed to do. She was there for a very specific reason.
Mhm.
And I think that's what makes it all such a beautiful space because we do it all with conviction, hopefully, where
Mhm.
we live and what we do and how we live, the resources available to us or not. It comes from a place of inner strength, if you will, but also from a place of what else is out there that can show the contrast of what I am witnessing.
Mhm.
Just like you said, you couldn't possibly lift and do the actions that she was doing.
Mhm.
So I think that's a beautiful opportunity for us to really sit and be in a place of gratitude, but also recognizing when we feel we have it hard and we have it rough, we actually don't.
Right. Right. That is certain.
Yeah. But we forget because we get used
Yeah.
to being able to walk into a room and flicking on the light, opening the
Mhm.
faucet, and out comes water and it's clean.
Mhm.
We live in this normalcy and it becomes very um, mundane. It can become very ingrained in us that we have it rather than being in that place of my life is so different and I'm so
Mhm.
grateful to have it so different. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm. I mean, when you talk about the water, it reminds me of children carrying buckets of water in India
Mhm.
to be able to have water. And that was like, I mean, when yes, that, it exists, but
Mhm.
until you actually see it,
Yeah.
it's it's not real, I feel.
Yeah. It's yeah. So what do you feel is are some of the attributes that connect you to being able to write, being able to witness what you have, and then compel it and put it all together in this beautiful package of a book, article, content, blogs.
Well, I think you you have to have, the basic skills of writing. But before all of that, to get to that spot, you need to use all of your senses to be kind of hyper aware. You have to really experience it. And I think that's kind of a balancing act. Um, as a writer, you want to take notes so you don't forget, but you want to be in the moment and truly experience it. How did it smell? What did I taste? You know, all of those things, and then bringing it together. So I think the whole ability to go into your experience it and then recreate it in a real way and not just tell it from beginning to end, but to start with a highlight and then kind of back into the story.
Mhm. What's your inner journey throughout that entire process?
Oh, what is my inner journey?
Like, do you relive it? Do you re-witness it? Do you?
Oh, during the writing process?
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, first of all, I go back and review my pictures because sometimes just taking a picture or recreating a recipe at home will trigger
Mhm.
certain memories. The whole idea of tasting the dish that you had. Sometimes I'll try and get a recipe to bring home to then recreate that, and remember, if you will.
Mhm.
Taste is a very strong
Yeah.
memory maker.
Yeah.
Um, but the pictures, sometimes I look at pictures after the fact and I say, oh, I didn't notice that
Mm.
exactly,
Mhm.
because you're there and there's so much sometimes if it's a really different experience, um, that you need to kind of review it again. So I take hundreds of pictures. I mean,
Yeah.
like I went on a photo safari in Tanzania. I came back with 8,000 pictures. And I'm going again to Africa in November to 4 countries. And I I'm sure I'll come back with more than that.
I'm sure. Yeah, especially in 4 countries.
Yeah,
8,000, that's a lot of pictures.
yeah. It, you know, but it's like the memories. I don't buy things usually when I go to a place.
Right.
I typically take my photos.
And then what do you do with the photos? I mean, 8,000 photos of one country in one trip, that's a lot of pictures. How do you sift through that in keeping those memories alive and keeping that experience be top of mind and nurtured and the sweet spot in your heart, if you will, because I'm sure traveling to places does put you in a place of it moves you and it has
Mhm.
more of an impact on you. So how what do you do with the pictures?
Well, sorting through them, I typically am first looking for that picture that illustrates the story I'm trying to tell.
Mhm.
So maybe I took a series of images on burst, which will take,
Right.
5 or 6, right, one right after the other. But there's that one shot. I remember people on one trip in Tanzania were kind of critical about those of us using burst because you should frame the shot and take it, and that's it.
Okay.
And yet, when we went to photo review, I had the image of a mother and a baby lion with their heads together.
Mm.
And it was like, who took that picture? Well, I did. And there was not that picture before and not that picture in the frame after.
Mm.
Just happened to be that one.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well, you take 8,000, you might have 80 to, maybe that's an exaggeration, 800 that are
Uh-huh.
worth it, so to
Right.
speak.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway,
That's
and
great.
and you don't know, sometimes you think the light is off, I didn't get the reflection, I didn't get this. And then when you get it on your computer and you deal with the
Tweak it.
shade,
Yeah.
you can bring out something that you saw with the eye that you didn't, you thought you didn't get.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, um,
Yeah.
so I, I don't know if that really answered your question, but those photos and images are really a critical part of the whole experience for me
Right.
because I enjoy photography so
Sure.
much.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. What is the intentions you have with this craft of travel and recording and writing and capturing those moments and witnessing it for yourself? What's the intention you want to share with the world by doing this?
Um,
Or even maybe just for yourself,
or maybe what?
or maybe even just for yourself.
Um, just to I want to, in a way where I'm seeing my path kind of go now, is I'm kind of turning towards speaking engagements,
Mhm.
and I'm being asked to write or to speak at like destination or visitors and convention bureau conferences where I can help bring the writers and the destinations together,
Mhm.
to help them um, create relationships, which is critical for anyone who's a blogger or travel writer of
Sure.
any type. So I think trying to bring those people together is kind of the next step in my journey, if you will. This summer, I brought two travel writers at different times, one from Kansas and one from Arizona, to share Michigan with them, to let them see some of the things about the place I know the best.
Right. Right.
So that was special.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And are you hoping to do that more on an international level, or is it, excuse me, America centric?
Um, right now, I would say it's Midwest centric. I haven't been to Europe and uh, um, well, I've been to Canada, but I haven't been to Europe or out of the country since the pandemic.
Mhm.
So I'm going to Italy in a couple weeks. Then in November, I'm going to Africa. So maybe, perhaps that will happen. But I think for sharing what I know with others right now, it's the Midwest because I
Right.
know it best.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time in Spain, so that may be something,
Yeah.
but
Beautiful.
down the road, maybe.
Yeah. So what's next? What's next for Amy as you bring all of your gifts and your talents and these beautiful experiences that you're sharing about, be it the Tanzania and the lions and the woman, and that's international travel, but I can only imagine the depth of experiences that you're able to capture even on your own turf, even in Michigan, of perhaps a new lens, a new vantage point, a new perspective that you're able to see, um, just by sheer people coming in or interactions. So, what is it that's going to happen next, or you're intending to happen next in what you do?
Well, I think a lot of it is the speaking engagements and talking to people. I've been promoting my book, Secret Michigan. Um, so I feel like I'm in a crossroads right now, not
Mhm.
quite sure. It looks like with where I believe that things, as you talk to people, things kind of happen.
Mhm.
And as you, and so I feel like, those, I kind of talked about it earlier, bringing those destinations and writers together. So I think that's maybe the next big step for me.
Yeah. Is there a particular location, travel, or experience that you've had that really had a bigger influence on you and it changed you on a different level that's more tangible, perhaps? Other than the lady in the water in Tanzania, is there another experience that ricocheted, if you will, through you in having such a profound influence in who Amy is today?
I would say that um, one of my favorite experiences was I spent 6 months in Argentina in an IT program project management organization,
Mhm.
teaching and setting up program project management for an IT company in Argentina. And because of my background in the Spanish language, I don't have any Latino roots, which surprises me. But I feel very at home in that culture. So I think the warmth of the people and the social aspect of it really impacted me for many years.
Mhm. Mhm.
Just the desire to have a party and bring people over, and that you would walk to the office in the morning and they would kiss you on the cheek, and that warmth. And oh, I wasn't there even a week, and oh, my mother-in-law is making empanadas and a bunch of people are coming, do you want to come, kind of thing. Where I was in other countries for 6 months, and it wasn't until the last month I was there anyone was
Mhm.
really inviting me anywhere.
Mhm. Mhm.
So the people in Argentina, that warmth and that sincerity just really resonated with me.
Nice. How did you embody that coming back home?
Well, I found myself having a lot of parties and invitations to my home to, maybe reconnect with people, but to continue that friendliness, if you will.
Right. Beautiful. I think it's a beautiful gift to be able to share and essentially break bread with
Mhm.
anybody across the room or across the table because it gives us an opportunity of that common thing called food.
Mm-hmm. And that's the whole, I always try to take a cooking class if I can in the place and get the recipes, and um, not just for my own memories, but then to really share it. I remember another kind of incident um, when I was in a place in the United States where I ended up being there for 11 months, and I ended up renting an apartment, and there were a lot of people from India there, and I ended up taking an apartment with a roommate. And she was from India. She ate her rice with her fingers and that kind of thing. And so when my granddaughter would come to visit me, she was, I don't know, in kindergarten, first grade time. And, they were best buddies, my roommate and my granddaughter, so to speak. And so she took up this habit with the rice. So we came back to my home in Michigan, and her father's mother was there, and we were just in a casual at the counter kind of
Right.
meeting, and we happened to have rice, and she's eating with her fingers,
That's right.
and the mother-in-law just her other grandma just kind of like freaked out and said, "You don't eat like that." And I'm like, wait, you know,
Yes,
this is a multicultural experience here.
it is too.
And
Yeah,
so, you
it
know,
is.
so anyway, kind of got to let go of some of our inhibitions, especially in your own home.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
And it,
anyway,
yeah, and it's a beautiful story. I mean, kids innately eat with their fingers. I think it's a very natural process for children to do
mhm,
that, to explore, but doing
mhm,
it as adults and consciously making an effort to do things differently and try things that are different, I think is an enriching experience everyone can offer themselves. I mean, you do this more often, perhaps, than I or others,
mhm,
in that you get to go and travel and you get to these far destinations and witness that. Whereas embodying them and experiencing them makes us as individuals so much more rich people.
mhm, mhm,
And I think that's ultimately the gift that we have. And that's the opportunity that we have as human beings, that we get to experience it, but also share it with others, which is what you're doing through this book. So
mhm.
it's beautiful.
So thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anything else you would like to add, Amy, to this conversation before we wrap it up?
Um,
That you would like people to know about your perspective of travel and writing and what you've learned over the years? What would you share?
I think you just have to keep an open mind. There's a term called equifinality. There's more than one way to skin a cat, if you will. And that's you've got to keep an open mind. There's more than one way to eat a meal. There's
Yeah,
a variety of things.
yeah,
Um, and you just need to keep that and be open to it and understanding the whys and hows and why isn't it done the way I do it, and my way isn't the right way necessarily. There is no right way.
that's right.
um, it's just there's many ways to get to the end.
Yeah, there is
So
that too. Absolutely. And for us to make it more enriching for our own life and our own experiences, that's the gift that we get.
mhm, mhm.
Beautiful. Well, I'm excited for you to continue to write and continue to publish your stories and your experiences. And I'm grateful that you were able to share. And thank you. Thank you, Amy, for taking the time and sharing your stories. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I'm Naranjan, and you've been listening to Master of Your Crafts podcast. Please subscribe, rate, and review, and join me next week for another episode. Thank you for listening.